It was an online games competition that 11-year-old Violet couldn't resist.
It said, 3 spins and then you can get through, like to win an iPhone or something. So I was like, why not? So I did it, and a 3rd spin, it was like, oh, you won, yay.
But it wasn't that simple.
After I did the spin wheel, I had to fill out all of my personal details. It still didn't let me exit, so I took screenshots of that just to, because I thought it was a little dodgy.
Despite her age, Violet's details were being passed on to vocational education provider Careers Australia. Soon Violet's mother, Rachel, started receiving calls.
They're asking for Violet. She's expressed interest in these courses, and of course I'm like, look, I'm terribly sorry, but Violet thought she was going to win an iPhone. Sorry, but, you know, she's not going to be interested in doing any courses, really. She just thought she'd want a phone. You kind of duped her there.
But the calls kept coming.
The final call, I was pretty much, I'm going to call an ombudsman, I'm going to call the ACCC, I'm going to call someone. I think I just made up names by the end of it. I'm just saying, I'm going to complain to a higher power about you because this is harassment.
Did you harass her?
No. We did not. Once she made it very clear to our call centre staff that she did not want to be contacted, she's placed on a do not call register within our organisation.
They received calls from like 4 or 5 other companies because the lead generation companies had sold their information to not just Careers Australia but other companies.
David, my name's Alex. I'm calling from Careers Australia.
23-year-old Alex worked in Careers Australia's Brisbane call centre until February. He claims competitions like the one Violet entered were a major source of sales leads.
95 to 98% of your calls are pretty much cold calling, where you're calling people who don't know they're going to get a call from Careers Australia. When you're calling, 200 plus people in the middle of the day, in Australia, you're most likely going to get in contact with people who are unemployed, stay-at-home mothers, single parents and stuff like that.
In relation to cold calling, we do not cold call.
Careers Australia defends using online games to attract students, but admits it was a mistake to repeatedly contact Rachel.
We apologise. Obviously, when the 18 plus terms and conditions box was ticked, we believe that information to come from our partner to be valid. We're not tricking them. There is no enrolment at the first port of call.
It's really set up for them to go for the jugular when the opportunity exists. For every person who says no, there's obviously enough people who sort of say yes.
But online competitions are not the only source of personal information for companies offering vocational education.
I certainly didn't consciously say, you're free to pass on my information to an educational service provider.
Patrick Maguire is a former police officer with post-traumatic stress disorder. He registered his details with the employment website Career One, which is partly owned by education broker Acquire Learning. Acquire signed students up for various providers, including until recently Careers Australia.
I got a call on my mobile, very pleasant, very upbeat, very positive.
But Acquire wasn't contacting him about a job. They encouraged him to sign up for a $20,000 diploma of business with an Acquire-owned training provider.
I remember saying to her, is there a catch to this? I get a feeling I'm going to have to sign up for something. And then she brought up the educational aspect and how important it was to re-educate yourself to get back in the workforce. This was going to be your golden ticket to getting a job.
Patrick Maguire was shocked to discover the ACCC is taking legal action against Acquire Learning for allegedly using unfair telemarketing tactics to take advantage of vulnerable consumers.
I felt abused. I felt I'd been assaulted.
Furious, he made this call to Acquire to unenroll.
I don't know how Acquire got my information. Was it sold to you by Career One?
When you actually apply for a job, there is in the print underneath, it says that there's a box and it says, I would like a career consultant to give me a call.
This is in court, and they're still operating and preying off the vulnerable.
We are concerned that Acquire seem to be flouting the concerns that have raised both by the ACCC and us and others.
Over the last 18 months, the Consumer Action Law Centre has been contacted by people who claimed they were misled by Acquire Learning.
We've made a representative complaint to the Privacy Commissioner alleging that Acquire Learning is not compliant with privacy laws, particularly as they relate to direct marketing.
The centre is calling on the federal government to ban the use of employment websites to recruit students.
It should be prohibited, in fact, for a third party or a related company contacting someone who's applied for a job about something that's entirely different to a job.
Employment website Seek also wants the practice banned.
From our point of view, that's certainly not something we ever do, and we are very clear in our privacy statement. We would say it's unscrupulous and it's unethical means of generating leads for Acquire Learning.
Seek cut ties with Careers Australia and Acquire Learning after receiving complaints about their sales tactics.
Frankly, we think it's now time for the federal government to take a very hard line, whether it be shutting people down, whether it be prosecuting operators to the fullest extent of the law to recover funds that have been paid improperly to them. We think it now is the time, and probably has taken 1.5 to 2 years too long.
But Careers Australia has defended the use of employment websites to recruit students.
Look, we give students the opportunity through those sites to opt in, to receive information. They clearly know it's Careers Australia. We have our logo.
But they're telling 730 they don't know that.
Well, I think we have a difference of opinion then.
Acquire Learning declined to be interviewed by 730. In a statement, it denied cold calling or breaching people's privacy. The company says Patrick Maguire did consent to being contacted and hasn't incurred a student debt because he's unenrolled from the course.
Getting it stamped out should happen tomorrow.
Patrick Maguire's confidence has been shaken by his experience with Acquire Learning. He wants other job seekers to be protected.
There are a lot of vulnerable people out there finding that they're on the scrap heap of human society because they can't get work. And you're preying on them.